let's get into the fourth quarter when you guys start driving down the field first time. Now, first time, you line up for the kick, and the ball started to the left and then went to the right and then seemed to go back to the left. Was that wrong? Was that something the TV did as a trick in terms of the angle? What happened on the spin? 'Cause I was freaking out after that first kick.
Know. I didn't love how it came off my foot. I think I got a little juiced up with the distance and kind of hit a little higher on the ball than I was intending, but kind of just drove it through there. So yeah, sometimes if you kind of compress and hit more middle of the ball, you'll get that ball that kind of moves in both directions. So once again, being indoors,
how much does that? How much length does that? Like, what does indoors do? Like, I assume it adds length to it, but I assume the spin and where the ball goes is true to how you kicked it. But try and explain to us what indoors actually does to a kick.
Yeah, so obviously being indoors there, I didn't have any wind factors. If there had been a wind blowing left to right, that ball might have moved outside the uprights, and being from that distance, here in Green Bay, the last month of the season, there was no way I'd be able to kick a field goal from 56, more than likely, unless we had a strong wind at our back. So, just going inside, just being able to warm up and feel loose, quicker and be able to hit those long balls. I mean, I gave Coach a line of, if we got to the 40-yard line, I felt like I could hit a good ball and get it there without much problem.
40-yard line, that's 57 yards, 57. Yeah. So you were right at your limit. In your mind, though, like, had you gotten to did you have 60? Like, did you have 60 in you? Did you have, especially considering, because length wasn't the problem on the 56. It was more accuracy. And as you said, you didn't hit it as cleanly as you wanted. What do you think your limit actually was?
Especially on the last drive, whenever it was going to be, the last kick of the game, I told him, I said, if we get to the opposite 45, felt good and, could even stretch it out a little bit more. But, it was going to be, at that point, that's probably a 20 to 30%, make. Yeah. But in the situation, you got to try it. And that was, I think, before Aaron went out for that last drive, it was like, if we can just get it across the 50, we might have a chance to try one.
Okay, so let's get to that last drive. They come down. Dan Bailey's also an excellent kicker. He makes one. And you look up and you see 40 seconds, I think, on the clock.
Yeah. And
that you guys had 2 timeouts as well. So you're thinking, I'm going to get another shot at this thing, right?
Yeah, you know what? Obviously, when you got a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers leading the offense, I think it was like 35 seconds. To think that with 35 seconds and 2 timeouts, there was really no doubt we were going to at least have a chance to try one there. So he made it. We made it a little dramatic. Him getting sacked, and then the throw that he threw to Cook and the kicks. That sequence, the last 2 minutes of that game is one that I'll never forget. That thing that was the wildest 2 minutes of any game I've ever been in.
I see. They make the catch. You're now in range. You know the clock. You got to go out there and kick. Take me through what goes through your mind.
Well, obviously it was unique with they had to review the play. So I think someone said it was about 2.5 minutes or something like that. To review. And honestly, in that 2.5 minutes probably felt like 10 or 15. Just kept looking over, seeing if he was going to come out, make the call, but staying locked in for the moment and just trying to do my normal routine as best as possible in that moment. So as soon as I saw him clear, I locked in, got ready to go. But knowing they have a timeout, can't really overthink that. I had to go out and be prepared to make the kick the first time, and I drilled the first kick, and they called the timeout, and then just did the same thing. Went back towards the sideline, went through my normal process, and
which is
was
what?
able
Like,
to come out.
what's your normal process? What are you telling yourself, or what do you do? Like, and I know you try and it's like a free throw. Like you try and create a routine. So what
Yeah,
exactly is the routine?
same thing. Yeah, so I. Like I said, I go to the sideline. Like I wanted to run back on, like it was the first time I
Okay,
had,
yeah.
made that kick. So I come on the field. I kind of come down the middle of the hashes. I swing, take like a practice swing, and then I pick my spot, pick my line, and then just take my 3 steps back, 2 over. Once I'm set, once I get set, take a deep breath. All I think at that point, clear my mind, just go whenever that ball is snapped. And at that point, it's I just have to trust that all my muscle memory, all the stuff that I've worked through is going to come through. And just really trying to clear my mind of any of those outside influences.
Do you know as soon as the ball hits your foot?
Honestly, the second one, I had I was going right at the upright. I was a little I knew I'd picked a little too far left of a line there, but kind of about halfway through, as it how it was flying, I could tell it was going to fall right at some point. I was just hoping it was going to fall right sooner than later, and as soon as it kind of started turning right, I got pretty excited. So I went kind of bent down, and just the emotion of the whole moment just took me over.
That's amazing. It's amazing. Mason Crosby joining us from the Green Bay Packers. So by your estimation, does icing a kicker work?
It definitely adds an element of a focus, like where you have to focus in a little bit more. It has worked in the past. I always, and I like how Coach McCarthy does it. He usually tries to call that timeout before you can have an attempt on the field,
because you get that warm up attempt, you get it out. So then you're just now you've actually kicked the football on the field, and it feels a little bit more like practice, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's most of the time, I will say, most of the time NFL kickers, if you give us 2 chances, more often than not, especially say something happens on the first one, we miss that one, and if you get a second chance, you're going to hit it more often than not. So, saw that this year with Suck up there in Tennessee. Called that timeout. He missed that first kick short and hit the 53 after that. So, for me, I was like, didn't know if they were going to call a timeout or not, because longer kicks, obviously being inside, it's a little higher percentage of a make. But sometimes those longer kicks, it's almost just like you might as well just see if they can hit it and don't call the timeout.
Were you really sick yesterday? You missed practice yesterday. Were you really sick, or you just kind of doing a victory lap over this game-winning field goal?
No, I had a family had the stomach bug going through, so I got a little bit of that. But
how many at home? How many you have at home?
I got 3 kids. So our youngest one kind of started getting everybody sick, and my wife had it on Tuesday, and then I caught the thing on Tuesday night. So, but feeling much better. Is luckily a fast one.
Yeah, but the whole thing about those Petri dishes is now you bring it into work. So like now, did anybody don't you got to like? But you're also not around the guys as much, right? So
yeah, we're not sharing stuff and doing all that. I mean, that's why I also missed yesterday. I just took the day off. Was just was sick obviously, and
right.
don't want to get anyone else sick. So
yeah, put Rodgers in a bubble. That's what you need to do. Put Rodgers in a bubble.
Everybody wear masks.
For somebody and as amazing as you are at doing your job, and for somebody who's on that sideline and saw that throw, what is it like when they were sacked? It's 3rd and 20. You're like, all right, we're going OT. To see that play, what was it like in person?
Oh man, it's hard to describe the emotion and the feeling that you get, especially when you seen Aaron do it so many times. Once he started rolling out and he's looking downfield, you just wonder how much is he going to try to get.
Right.
So I never envisioned him throwing it 35 yards down the field. I thought kind of at that point it was, all right, let's take something underneath. We still had timeouts, and then if he gets across the 50, maybe we try a long field goal. If not, we throw one in the end zone. But once he released that ball and it just kind of kept traveling, you just kind of look, see who it's going to, and then at that moment had to just lock in and get ready for that kick.
All right, last thing, and I know you got to go. We do too. The Cowboys could have attempted a 72-yarder, right? Before halftime. Were you aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the fair catch free kick. Yeah, I tried one my second year in the NFL, and I don't know what their reasoning was there. Obviously, we have a return opportunity if he doesn't get it to the uprights. But
wait, okay, so help for people who don't understand the rule, the fair catch free kick rule. Okay, how are you able to? They can't defend, they can't block it, but they can return it, right?
Yeah, so any time in the game you can call a fair catch on a punt and attempt a free kick with your kickoff team. Ball has to be on the ground, but it is just held, stationary ball. You can take as many steps as you want, to attempt it, and the other team does have the opportunity to return it if you do not hit it, make the kick or hit it through the end zone.